With all of these categories, you're going to want to start by rating your issue. And the way we do this, doctors do it too. And if you go to the doctor's office, they're going to ask you to rate your pain, for example, on a scale of 1 to 10. This scale is generally referred to as the S.U.D.S scale. It stands for Subjective Units of Distress Scale. So really just S.U.D.S. But it's a way to measure something that otherwise may not be measurable. So before you tap, it's a good idea to think about what your issue is, really focus your mind on it, and then rate your distress on a scale of 1 to 10. So, 0 being absolutely no distress, I feel great, nothing's wrong, there's no charge, no emotional charge whatsoever when I have this thought or think about this thing. And then 10 is like, oh my God, it's all I can think about. I'm so stressed out right now. I almost want to die. Like number 10 is like the worst you could possibly think of. So that's the scale, and you want to sort of rate your distress, whether it's an emotion or a physical symptom, whatever it is, whatever your distress is around that symptom, you want to rate it, give it a number. Because that's how you're going to know whether it's working or not. If your number goes down after a round of tapping, then you know energy is moving. You know that you're actually having a result. You're feeling something is changing, something is shifting inside of your body energetically. So that's why you want to rate it ahead of time, and it's a really good idea to write that number down, because sometimes after tapping, we do feel better. A lot of times it's hard to even remember where we were before. When you used to be dealing with a symptom every single day, and it was like all you could think about, and now you don't have that symptom anymore. We sometimes forget that it was even a problem, that it even bothered us at all, because our left brain sometimes has a hard time believing that it's actually gone down. So I definitely recommend that you rate it ahead of time and write it down if you can, so that then after a round of tapping, maybe 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds, depending on how severe your situation is, you can actually see the shift, see the change by measuring something that would otherwise seem subjective when we're talking about emotions. So it's a good idea to rate that. I can tell you that personally, I used to have the absolute worst eczema you could possibly imagine all over my face. It was the worst. And it really made every day absolutely miserable. And there were days where, my skin was flaking off and it was so red and raw. It literally felt like it was on fire. And it was all I could do to numb the pain, let alone try to cover it up so I could go out into public and, feel like a normal person and not be totally embarrassed all the time. There were so many emotions wrapped around that symptom aside from the physical pain. But I can tell you personally, I have literally gone from an 8, I'm talking pain now, the pain of my skin feeling like it was on fire. I have gone from an 8 to a 4 in 5 minutes of tapping. I can't think of a single drug that is that effective for pain relief, that can reduce pain that quickly with no other side effects whatsoever. And then it lasted for a considerable amount of time. Pretty much the rest of that night, I was not in pain. Now, it came back the next day because my issue was a much larger chronic issue that I really had to dive into. But even so, even temporary relief in the moment, it's so unbelievably valuable.